So it's another rainy day here in Seoul. I've been shooting for the past 2 days straight. I'm already quite exhausted, but I cannot let these opportunities go to waste. I just loaded up the XPan with some Ektachrome and probably gonna shoot some other film as well. Also trying out the Pro Mist filter today because I feel like it might complement the film look quite nicely. I quite like the potential compositions of this train crossing, which happens to be right outside of my apartment. So I spent the first half the roll just taking photos here, which with the XPan is only 10 photos, but anyways, and I quite like the results. And because I'm stupid and I forgot my microphone, I tried to do some vlogging on my phone here randomly for 20 seconds. Kind of stopped raining a bit, but what I'm noticing here is consistency is very important in the photography. This is like the 3rd day in a row that I'm shooting, and maybe like the 5th day in a week. And I'm definitely starting to do better. I'm starting to notice things a bit differently. I mean, let's see how the photos look. But yeah, consistency is quite important. And throughout this day, it was kind of raining on and off the entire of the day, just kind of drizzling. Most of this time, I'm just kind of wandering Seoul and walking around. You saw me pass the famous Gyeongbokgung Palace Temple there, and then I wandered off to these charming little alleys in what I believe is called Ikseodong. And then I just kept wandering these alleys, and hold up, is that a cat on the roof? Became a little bit obsessed with this cat, and I'm happy that this shot at least turned out and it's in focus, although I'm about 0.2 seconds too slow on the reaction times there. And then I found out this cat also had a daughter, and goddamn, isn't that just too adorable. I spent the final shots of the Ektachrome here and switched over to Portra 800, and the jump from ASA 100 rated film into 800 was a welcome change, because even though it's daytime, it is still quite dark because of the clouds and the rain, and the XPan is limited to an f4 lens, so this makes things a little bit easier, although I do quite enjoy Ektachrome, but Portra doesn't look so bad either. And luckily the cats here are well fed. Probably not a bad life. And here's a couple more shots on Portra as I kept wandering further into different alleys of Seoul. And honestly, the XPan is such a fun camera to compose different kind of photos with. I'm really enjoying it. We're now wandering into Jongno, and we can find so many of these little alleys with a bunch of electronic shops and restaurants. And honestly, I'm just really enjoying the fact that I'm able to walk around aimlessly and wander in a city. I've missed this kind of thing. It's one of my favorite things about photography, just wandering a new city with a camera in your hand, seeing what kind of moments or pictures you can find along the way. I also had my digital Ricoh with me just to have another camera, a digital one with a wider lens. And even though I literally only took 3 photos with that one on this day, I'm glad I had it with me because I quite like this moment that I found on one of these alleys. I don't even know where I am at this point, and if I didn't take photos, I would have no reason to be here. But photography really allows you to discover places you'd never discover otherwise. And luckily, Seoul is a very safe place, so I don't really have to worry too much about walking down the wrong alley and getting murdered. Those were the last shots on Portra. 5 more photos coming on Lomography 800 before I decided to call it a day. And of course I continued in this role on another day. That video is probably coming out another time. What I was kind of reminded of on this day is that going out consistently kind of just elevates your work that little bit further, as opposed to if you were just shooting, every once in a while, like I've been doing for the past year or so. Because now that I'm in Seoul, I feel very inspired to go out almost every day, maybe like 4 or 5 days a week. And when you do that, when you go out 4 or 5 days a week, there's a couple things that happen. First of all, you feel less self-conscious about taking photos of people and being stared at because you're just doing street photography, and you feel more comfortable with the settings and all the functions of your camera, and you're faster in using manual focus, things like those. But also, because you go out often, you kind of take the obvious shots more often, so then you have to think a little bit harder about the photos that you're taking. You either have to make the obvious shots absolutely optimal and make them a little bit better, or you just have to be more creative and take some less obvious shots. And the more photos you take, the more consistently you go out, the more this kind of happens. Because you can't just really take the same photo over and over again. You kind of have to do something different or you'll be bored. And that is what is gonna help your photography get to the next level. Now I'm recording this outro like 2 weeks after I actually did that shoot. So I've been shooting even more. And obviously the more you do this, the more your work should improve. I mean, it also depends on other factors, but basically, I would say that is pretty much a fact. Anyway, I quite like the photos that I took on this day, and I've been shooting a lot more videos coming once I have a chance to edit them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave it a like and a comment if you did, and I'll see you in the next videos once I have time to edit them.